So this morning you heard fantastic presentations about Red Hat as an operating system, Enterprise DB as a database, and I will present something you can put on all those different layers, that is Alfresco Enterprise ECM. So the topics of today will be a short introduction into what we are doing, the product itself, a short introduction into the enterprise class product that we sell, and the company. We will do a short explanation about the people that founded the company and several of the customers we have. Also an introduction to what we're selling and why we're winning, and we're winning big time. And at the end, a short visionary from our CTO, John Newton, and also what Gartner is seeing in the future of ECM. So first of all, what do we do? Alfresco is a solution for enterprise content management. And enterprise content management is a very broad term. There are many definitions, and we fit in many of those definitions, and we fit in many of those terminologies that are available around ECM. So first of all, Alfresco can be used for traditional document management. So typically, we have customers that have shared drives, file servers. They're hitting all kinds of limitations, and I want to move to the next stage where they have more reliability, scalability, and more functionality. So that's where Alfresco comes in for document management. So an example could be for contracts, it could be for project documents, it can even be rich media like videos and music. It can also be images, so all kinds of content you would like to have securely stored in a central place. The typical functionalities that document management customers need is version control, permissions that only those users can access the document that have allowance to do so, storing additional metadata so that it is easy to categorize and to tag and to find documents, full text search so that you can search 1 million of documents and find exactly those documents that you need. Very often also some workflow functionalities attached to that. So the middle part is web content management. Web content management, again, is a broad term, but we cover most of what the customers need with respect to having a web presence. So if you are a company and you would like to have just a basic presence on the website, we can provide that with Alfresco WCM. It's the kind of basic static websites. But what we're seeing more and more is that organizations want to kind of have a conversation with their users, with our customers. So for that, you need to have a more dynamic website where customers can provide feedback on new plans that you have, and you can start conversations one-to-many or even one-to-one. So the Alfresco web content management solution provides these capabilities of building those very interactive, but also more static websites. Then the third part is collaboration. Project collaboration, team collaboration, working within teams, and you need to have the facilities like document management to share office documents or project documents, but you also need to have other facilities in your collaboration tool, like calendaring, task lists, wikis, blogs, so anything you need that is based around content and discussions around content that help you as a project team to fulfill your tasks. So all these three components, they are built on a very solid, reliable layer that is the Alfresco repository. I will talk about the flexibility and scalability of the repository a bit later, but the repository itself is the basis on which all those content-centric applications are built. And also we are so successful in being able to make a very robust platform that also other software vendors are OEMing our core technology to build their solutions on top of Alfresco. So take for example, if you are a software company and you need a database to store your structured data. Everyone probably here in the room, that makes sense. You use a database to store structured data. But what if you have an application that also needs to store unstructured data? So anything that is a few lines of text, or it could be 100 lines of text, or it could be many kinds of documents that you want to store in the context of your application. A database is not the best application to do so. It has its facilities, but it is not reliable and robust and does not provide the capabilities that you need for document management. So Alfresco there is used as a platform for storing the content that are produced or created by the application. And one of the new developments that we recently started working at is we're building our own workflow engine. Up till now, we have used the JBPM workflow engine that was tightly integrated with Alfresco. Some of the developers that originally started working on JBoss, the JBPM engine, are now working for Alfresco, and they're starting the brand new BPMN 2.0 compliant workflow engine. We will integrate that in the very near future with Alfresco. So why are we doing this kind of development in a very mature ECM sector? The founders of this company have seen that the traditional ECM has big flaws. One of the biggest flaws is it is very expensive, not only to buy, but also to implement, to roll out, and to maintain a traditional ECM, like Dokumentum, like FileNet, etc. You pay a lot of money just to get some shelfware, to get the license for the software and the availability to use it. But then you also need to customize it. Those vendors generally have proprietary tools, development tools you need to pay for, proprietary languages you need to learn and go to classes. It has a limited number of stacks it can run on, so you're more or less forced to a very limited number of hardware platforms you can run on. But also, if you want to roll it out to tens of thousands of users, and that is typically what Alfresco is used for, many of those vendors also force you to install on each client a piece of software. So you can imagine that rolling out a new upgrade of a client piece is going to become very high cost. And it's also going to take a long time before you have updated 10,000 clients. So we're preventing that. The second part is traditional ECM is very complex. Over the last decades, and I've been one of those previous, I worked for one of those traditional ECM vendors. Traditional ECM vendors, they've grown by merger and acquisition. They have not really built new software, but they buy several small companies which already have a small stack or a small piece of software, and they integrate it in, and then you have a bigger suite. But it's very badly integrated. It's very difficult to maintain, and virtually impossible to customize if you want to customize across the whole platform. So it is very complex for these systems to make sure that they run reliably and that they are maintainable. So due to the high cost and the complexity, generally 5 to 10% of the people in an organization have access or are using document management or ECM in general. So that is an extremely low percentage. So what about the other 90% or 95%? What are these users using? Well, they often got stuck with email and with file servers, but there's not really something else they can use, or they go to the cloud and use Google Docs or something else. But as an organization, you want to have your documents in-house, preferably. So Alfresco is different. The founders of the company, they have seen the lacks of the existing traditional ECM players and have built a new product, which is open source, which is solving those big problems. So first of all, it is much lower cost. As with general with open source, we're not charging for any license, just for the subscription. So there's no expensive shelfware. But also we're using general software and general languages if you want to customize. So Alfresco is built using Java. You can use other scripting languages. We have a very open architecture, so there's no tie-in with respect to APIs, with respect to development tools, with respect to platforms. We run a whole suite of different software stacks, so you can pick the one that you already have experience with or already are using. It's very simple to use. The users can continue to use with the tools that they already have on their desktop, if it is email or Office or OpenOffice or Microsoft Office, or it is another tool. They can continue to use using those tools, but still on the back end have a robust repository to store their documents. It is also very simple to customize because we are just providing the APIs and you can pick the tool that you feel most comfortable with to customize it with. So because of the lower cost, the ease of use and the simplicity to customize it in the way you are interested in, the way your users are interested in, you get much better adoption by the users, and you can roll it out to tens of thousands of users in a very short period of time. So I've talked about ease of use and rolling out to tens of thousands of users. So the technical term to allow this is zero footprint. It means that Alfresco runs on the server and you can interact with all the clients without installing any software. So it means, for example, one of these examples is shared drive replacement and shared drive interaction. Many of the current customers, they come from an environment where they have file servers and shared drives. People like this because it's a very easy way to access the documents within a group or a team, because it's the same way as you would access your local disk. The advantage is it is very simple, accessing a file server. The difficulty is it has basic functionality. It can only work within a small group, and there's no such thing as version control or more complicated functionalities like full text search. So Alfresco gives the user the experience as if they were accessing a shared drive or a file server. However, on the back end, you have a fully blown document management system. And it is not only accessible as a shared drive interface, but it is also accessible by many other interfaces. For example, a web interface. So a web interface working in multiple browsers, you can have rich functionality for team collaboration, very specific functionality, either customized or where you need specific functionality like metadata, properties that need to be used for managing workflows or searching content. We also have a mobile client so that from your mobile phone, through browser, you can access the Alfresco repository. So the documents that you uploaded through your Office applications or shared drive, you can also access by browser or mobile phone. It's the same repository that provides you this access. Email integration, Brian mentioned, Zarafa has their own integration. We have an IMAP compliant interface, so any email client that is IMAP compliant can talk directly to the Alfresco server. So for example, you can archive your emails manually or by rules, where Alfresco is seen as a folder in your email folder structure. It's that easy. And also, if you want to send an archived email to someone else, you can directly pick it from a folder, which is in this case an Alfresco repository, and send it to other people. So there are multiple ways of accessing the same repository. Office applications, it's the same here. Microsoft Office, but also OpenOffice, we have very tight integrations without any client installation, where you can directly open a document and save it back. And for OpenOffice, we have an additional plugin where you have functionalities like workflow management and task management within your team. Portals is also something we see very, very often used, where, for example, you have a customer portal or an ERP portal where you have financial data, and next to your financial data, you would like to have documents, brochures, price lists, etc. So within one portal environment, you can have the Alfresco documents list, but also your ERP system. For those cases where you need to integrate it with other systems, could be applications, could be the cloud, we provide a whole suite of different types of APIs, web services, RESTful APIs, and SDKs, which allow you to extend and integrate Alfresco with other products. We try to use as much as possible open interfaces and open APIs, but not always that's possible. So we provide those APIs necessary to do really specific tasks.